The average Hollywood blockbuster costs over $200 million to make, and roughly 60% of them never turn a profit. Yet studios keep making them, audiences keep watching them, and the machine keeps spinning. The question is, how does any of it actually work? In the next 10 minutes, you are going to discover exactly how Hollywood transforms an idea on a page into a billion-dollar spectacle. We will break down every stage of production, from the moment a script lands on an executive's desk to the second the credits roll in theaters worldwide. And along the way, we will reveal the one uncomfortable truth about blockbuster filmmaking that the studios absolutely do not want you thinking about too deeply. Hollywood did not always operate this way. In the early days of cinema, studios owned everything: the theaters, the actors, the directors, even the popcorn machines. It was a closed system called the studio system, and it ran from roughly the 1920s through the 1950s. Films were produced like factory goods. Efficient, formulaic, and profitable. Then a Supreme Court ruling in 1948 forced studios to sell their theater chains, and the whole model collapsed. What replaced it was something messier, riskier, and far more expensive. The modern blockbuster era was born in 1975 when Steven Spielberg released Jaws, a film that was supposed to cost $3 million and ended up costing $10 million. It nearly destroyed Universal Pictures. Instead, it made over $470 million worldwide and invented the summer movie season. Studios realized that one massive hit could pay for a dozen failures. That logic has driven Hollywood ever since. So how does a blockbuster actually get made? It starts with development, and development is where most movies die before they are ever born. A writer pitches an idea, or a studio buys the rights to a book, a comic, a video game, a toy, yes, toys, and assigns writers to crack the story. Scripts go through draft after draft. Producers give notes. Executives give more notes. Legal teams review every line for liability. A script can sit in development for 5, 7, even 10 years before getting greenlit. For every film that makes it to theaters, there are hundreds that never survive this stage. Studios call it development hell, and it is exactly as brutal as it sounds. Once a script is approved, the studio attaches a director. This is a bigger decision than most people realize. A director with a strong track record can attract A-list talent, negotiate better deals with distributors, and give investors confidence. But directors also cost money. Top-tier directors like Christopher Nolan or James Cameron can command fees in the $20 to $30 million range before a single frame is shot. Then comes casting. Star power still matters enormously. A recognizable face in the lead role can open a film internationally even when the marketing is minimal. Dwayne Johnson reportedly earns between $20 and $50 million per picture. Tom Cruise took a percentage of Top Gun Maverick's profits, and that film made over $1.4 billion globally. Pre-production is where the blueprint becomes reality. Location scouts travel the world. Set designers build entire cities on studio backlots. Costume departments produce thousands of individual pieces. The visual effects team, which on a modern blockbuster can include over 2,000 artists, begins work on digital environments before cameras ever roll. Pre-production on a major film typically runs between 3 and 6 months, and it often costs tens of millions of dollars before any actual filming begins. But here is what nobody talks about. By the time principal photography starts, the studio has already committed so much money that walking away would cost nearly as much as finishing the film. Principal photography is the period most people picture when they imagine movie making. Actors on set, cameras rolling, directors calling action. But the reality is far less glamorous. A major blockbuster shoots for 60 to 120 days. Every single day on a major production costs between $300,000 and $1 million. Weather delays, injured actors, malfunctioning equipment, every setback bleeds money. Studios hire entire insurance teams specifically to manage these risks. The productions are run like military operations, with detailed call sheets, union regulations, safety protocols, and meal schedules that must be followed to the minute. Once filming wraps, the real work begins. Post-production on a blockbuster can take anywhere from 6 months to 2 years. Editors assemble hundreds of hours of raw footage into a 2-hour film. Composers score original music. Hans Zimmer alone has worked on films generating over $25 billion at the global box office. Sound designers create every audio layer from scratch. And then there's the visual effects work, which has become one of the most expensive and controversial parts of modern filmmaking. The VFX budget on a film like Avengers Endgame reportedly exceeded $200 million on its own. The companies doing this work are often underpaid, overworked, and pushed to meet impossible deadlines, a reality that has sparked ongoing debates about the sustainability of the current blockbuster model. Marketing is where the numbers get truly staggering. Studios typically spend between $50 and $150 million marketing a single blockbuster. That includes theatrical trailers, television spots, billboard campaigns, social media advertising, influencer partnerships, merchandise licensing, and tie-in deals with fast food chains and toy manufacturers. Disney's partnership with Hasbro alone generates hundreds of millions in revenue from toy sales before a Marvel film even opens. The marketing spend for a film like Spider-Man: No Way Home reportedly exceeded $200 million globally. Think about that. Studios spend as much advertising a film as some countries spend on their entire annual defense budgets. Distribution is the final commercial puzzle. Major studios have deals with theater chains around the world. In the United States, the standard split gives studios roughly 50 to 60% of ticket revenue in the opening weeks, dropping to around 40% by week 4. Internationally, the numbers shift depending on the territory. China, which is one of the most important markets for Hollywood blockbusters, allows studios to keep only around 25% of box office receipts. That is why studios increasingly design films with global appeal in mind, minimizing culturally specific humor and maximizing universal spectacle. It is not artistic cowardice, it is math. Now here is the deeper truth that changes how you see every blockbuster you have ever watched. Box office revenue is not actually the primary profit driver for most films anymore. Streaming rights, home video licensing, merchandise deals, theme park attractions, television syndication, and soundtrack sales collectively generate far more money than ticket sales alone. When Disney bought Marvel in 2009 for $4 billion, analysts thought it was reckless. Today, Marvel intellectual property has generated over $30 billion in revenue across all channels. The movies themselves are almost like very expensive advertisements for a much larger commercial ecosystem. Studios are not just selling you a ticket, they are building a universe of products and experiences that will generate revenue for decades. This changes how we should think about what a blockbuster really is. It is not just a film. It is a franchise launcher, an intellectual property generator, and a global marketing platform. When a film like Black Panther earns $1.3 billion at the box office and becomes a cultural phenomenon, the real prize is not the box office check. It is the decade of merchandise, theme park rides, Disney Plus content, and brand equity that follows. The same logic applies to every major studio franchise, from Fast and Furious to Transformers to the DC Universe. The film is the seed. Everything else is the harvest. What this means for audiences is complicated. The pressure to create globally scalable, franchise-friendly content has reshaped what kinds of stories get told at scale. Original mid-budget dramas, the kinds of films that defined Hollywood in the 1970s, have largely migrated to streaming platforms or independent distribution. The theatrical blockbuster slot is now reserved almost exclusively for sequels, prequels, reboots, and adaptations of pre-existing intellectual property. The system is not broken, it is working exactly as designed. Before you go, if you learned something valuable today, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to BuzzCore for a brand new video every single day. We will see you in the next one.